And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the South Central Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Austin, and I am here with Keevo.
I'm here, boy. I'm here.
Now, Keevo, one thing, and this is a question from Kevin Sawyer. Shout out to Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to ask you, how did you bridge the gap between the old generation and the new generation? And I even seen that on too. When I talk to older heads in comedy and when I talk to the new heads, everybody like you. So it seems as though you are the glue that could bind both the slapstick type generation and the because even in the new generation, I do see many slapstick type comics. But in the old generation, there's the many Dave Chappelle type comics or the intellectual type comics like we described. So how did you find the balance between the two?
I think the balance was making it as local as possible. So people could relate it because it was Trini content, it was Trini comedy. So regardless of if you're from South or Port of Spain, anybody older than me could understand, could relate, and anybody younger than me could relate. So I tried to make it as local as possible. And then because of that, it translating onto a stand-up comedy stage was easy to do because everybody could laugh, right? So I remember I learned that from being booed. So I was booed because it wasn't Trini comedy. It was just Keevo's comedy and Keevo's life as a millennial. But that's a different type of comedy. Until my millennial base would have expanded, and then I could talk to my millennials and we could all laugh.
Right.
So I went into a space that was more baby boomer, and I was a millennial good millennial comedy.
Right.
And that not going to work. So I was able to bridge the gap because I tried to make it local. Where do they meet in the Venn diagram? They meet because they are all Trinis. And that's how I started doing more Trini content. So my early videos would have been more Trini stuff. And then I took some of them, translated them into stand-up comedy sets, and it worked that way.
So how did you keep the, because you might not have known this, you doing YouTube a long while, Keevan.
Yeah, about 14 years.
How you keep that motivation throughout that time and coming up and keep changing your brand and keep reinventing yourself? Because it never remains still. It always keep innovating itself something new. How you keep that going up?
Well, yeah, you have to know what the trends are. So at that point in time, YouTube was welcoming 5-minute videos of comedy. Then Vines came, 5 seconds. Instagram came, 15 seconds. And then it went, it's a cycle.
Right.
1-minute videos, then 2-minute videos, and then back to 1 minute. So I had to know what was the trending topic, not topic, but trending platform, and be able to put something comedic within that time frame. So it was easy for me to do because I was, big into understanding trends and marketing and business, etc. So it was easy for me to do that way. Having to reinvent yourself wasn't hard for me to do, to be honest, because I always kept the backbone of clean comedy, make it local, make it funny, make it relatable. And that was the backbone of most of my comedy. So it was just to put it in a different format all the time, that's all. So just small or big, small and big, and it worked.
To you, Keevo, is comedy a viable career in Trinidad as we speak?
Full time, I would say not yet. I would say it is something that you have to work towards, meaning it's a very small demographic of people. You can only fill a stadium or not a stadium, sorry, like a theater once or twice a year. And what makes it more difficult in Trinidad is that if you go south, east, west, north and perform to a crew of 400 or 500 people, you have to bring new jokes every year, right?
A new set.
A new set every year. When you go in Canada or the US, you could travel 2 years with a 5-minute set and make money. You understand? With one 5-minute set. So when you see Kevin Hart come and perform and bring out a special, that's probably the 100th time he had performed. So he perfect that forward and backward. And he had a down pat. And he done making money, making any mistakes already throughout that 100 city tour. In Trinidad, it's only 4 places you could go. South, East, West, Central. And
if you get a booking.
If you get a booking, right? And if people coming out and nothing else competing with it, it's have a party that event, You gotta think about all those things.
To have a big post right in front of the stage.
Exactly. So you gotta consider all those things. It's not impossible, but I don't think you could be a full-time comedian just yet. It could get there, but people have to also value what a comedian show looks like. So when you're looking at $300 and $400 a ticket, you had to know that, hey, this person bringing it. And if I could do 2 of those events per year, I could live for a year, right? But the same challenge remains is that my content has to change every year. And it's very hard to build a 1 hour set and practice that set. Where you want to practice? To the same people who want to come to the free show. So all those things you have to consider.
So how did this affect your writing process? Because it seems as though, do you get time to practice jokes as much as how it affect in terms of how you just write?
Well, I write on Facebook and I see the feedback and I then extrapolate. So when you go on Facebook and see me just saying something weird and people start to laugh and comment, etc., Facebook is my muse. I use that there and that's my writing board and see what the feedback is. If it's good follows, it's good comments, it's ha-ha-has, I say, all right, nice backbone, let's build it out. So that could be my beginning of a joke or my landing or my ending. So Facebook is a nice little community of people who could give me that kind of feedback.
That's a real nice hack for the game, boy.
Yeah. So I just go through what I did for the year and see what I can pull out and then, translate that into something on stand-up. So I don't do social media. I mean, not my social media, I'm talking about Instagram videos and things. With those types of content, I don't ever take what I type into the video. Because the video go viral and they will know it. And then when I go and sit on stage, they know it now. Everything I type is content I want to pull and be able to do it. So when I did the last show, it was Kevin's show. I did Kevin's show. A day before I put out something, it looked real good on social media, on Facebook. And I said, all right, let's build it out. And I did the Kevin's show and it hit. Because if 50 people laughing, that's enough for me, right? On my platform. So I could more than likely translate that into something on the stage. So that's why it works for me sometimes. Yeah.
That's a good workaround for not having plenty places to practice, boy.
Yeah. Because people will really joke in their head. And if it's funny with them reading it with their inner voice, it could be funny with me saying it. So, yeah.
And then you just... Okay, so how, if you don't mind me asking, how is the process of building that? How do you take it and you just take the core of what it is and you put it into a story? Or how that...
Yeah, so I try to mix the way in which I give the jokes. So some of them might be story-based. Some of them might be advice-based. Some of them might be more observation, right? So that's why I use most of my comedy. So observational comedy, I use story-based comedy and advice comedy. So that's my 3 there. I don't really venture outside of that, but I think that works for me most times. Yeah.
What would you like to see going forward in terms of the future, the landscape of comedy for Trinidad?
I think people need to come here to see us perform. We need to go there and perform for them. Our comedy has to not change, but be able to reach more people. So when I performed on Uber Soca Cruise for 2 years. And I realized that was like the biggest challenge I ever had in my life in terms of stand-up comedy. Because I was on a boat, 3,000 people performing for, and everybody from a different island. How do I relate to everybody? Because some of my references are Trini references. So I had to research even deeper to make sure everybody could relate, right? So that's why I said it's always important when you're performing to have a Venn diagram where the majority could meet in the middle. And I had to change some references, do some research, and then it hit. Right? So I can't say Rattans in a stage in America. It won't work. Right? So that was difficult for me, but it allowed me to stretch my mind more into when I go to perform, how do I make sure that I remain authentic to myself, but still make everybody feel included, So still be Trini, but include more people.
On a boat, all I can think the Venn diagram is we all on a boat.
Yeah. Well, it was a carnival boat, so you all come to wine. So that was, carnival based, whining and all that kind of thing. People could relate to that.
Yeah, you could hit off on that
Yeah,
ego.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the Venn
yeah.
diagram there.
That's the Venn diagram there.
Whining.
Correct.
Ah, boy.
Parties and all them kind of thing, alcohol, all those things were important.
Well, as we talk about parties, people don't know, how was your experience developing Pump?
Pump was a brainchild of me and my good friend Keevan Lewis. We saw the need for not only social events, but business type events as well. Right? So people could come and party, yes, but okay, you had a good time. It's good for the body. It's good for, the soul. But how do we make sure we network? How do we make sure that we, as a group, develop our professional side? So Pump was made where the hook is the party, but we also do business. We really want to do business there. So we had a contact, which was our business event, and we had all inclusives on the boat and on land every year for the past probably 6 years. Some years we missed and whatnot because life happens, but the hook was, all right, this is a new party crew, let's go and party. But by the way, if you want to know business as well, come on and network with us. So that was the hook. There's always a hook to anything I try to do. The hook is, comedy is important, but listen to some of my motivational as well. I want to be better. Black Sheep, come and get a haircut, but I wanted to develop as a UE student. All right? Pump, come and party, but I wanted to develop as a professional. So it's all about starting with the hooks and then getting them in. You must have a hook. That's the key. Yeah.
Gabriel did ask me to call you Captain Caveman because in video sits, he was like, you ain't no in a run. I talking to him because I asked him, I said, hey, I have Keevo coming on the show. Wait, does you know? He said, Keevo? He said, yeah. I say, listen, I's a nerd when it comes to comedy. Let me tell you something. I know Keevo since Keevo doing videos with our wife beater on in the room. And he here on the head.
Yeah, boy.
So,
yeah.
A
wife beater, yes. Good days, boy.
This one I want to actually put on screen so this one you can see.
Yeah, it's a kind of nerd. What we have to do, you have to ask Keevo, when are we getting our next special? Yeah, Keevo have a special, you know?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
My analysis, yes.
Admiration from all the... And that's how it does go right across the board with the young comics and the old comedians. But Gabriel did ask me, he said, if comedians Gabriel Bridgmohan and Jaron Bess Mitchell existed at the same time, who would be better in terms of dark comedy?
That is very hard, boy. That is like Deadpool and Wolverine.
He make me promise. I say,
that is
ask
Deadpool
Gabriel this.
and Wolverine.
Because Gabriel does, if it's one, Gabriel does commit to chaos, boy.
Yeah.
Oh my days, what I love him for.
Gabriel, nah, boy. I really don't know, boy. It is very difficult to say because it's almost as though light is in the middle and it have a dark on the right and dark on the left. And Jared is go dark on the left and Gabriel go dark on the right. So that is why I think that hard to nah. I can't answer that.
Okay, so who are these so many comedians, both on the new school side and on the old school side, that Keevo admires?
You mean locally?
Yeah.
Kevin, Javel, Kwame, Jeremy Richardson. For sure. Just in terms of, I've seen them the longest, and I admire the fact that they still consistently bring it all the time. Kes as well, boy. Right? Kes having his own space in
Everybody like Kes.
Christians Can Laugh. Kes, I absolutely love Kes and how he has been able to build that brand outside of what the norm is now, boy. And I love that about Kes too. Old school, I would have to say, well, for me, Paul Keynes, Larry Joseph, Tommy Joseph, Sprang Along for me is number one, right? Errol Fabian, Rachel Price, Nikki Crosby, Those are that's my
Love
people there.
Pricey bad. Love Pricey
Yeah.
bad.
Pricey will talk for 2 hours
When
and in practice.
when she would come on the radio in the morning on my van to school,
Yeah.
I would normally have if I hear Pricey voice, that's the only time I take it off my headset. I was like, yeah, let me hear what Pricey had to say. The quick.
Rachel Price she went through from the beginning to the end, and she don't miss. She don't miss.
Larry Joseph actually had I saw him as I was finishing performing in Sapa for
Right.
the big show, and he pulled me aside and he talked to me, and just the conversation at the end, and it was just I walking out, and there's somebody who my father would have shown
Right,
me
right.
on DVDs, and he just walking past real casual. I was like, "Good evening, sir." He was like, "You just perform?" I was like, "Yeah." And come pull me back. He asked how it went. He said, and he talked to me. He said, "Why it's important to do comedy?" And it's along the same sentiments that you share. It's about the people. It's about delivering a serious topic.
Yeah.
And they talk about all the topic. When he talk about, it had that old skit he had when he was a schoolboy,
Right.
and he had his hand in the book bag. He was like, "Yes, it's a joke, but at the time it's a serious topic. These things really going on."
Correct.
And that's how he does approach people. That's how people just remember you.
Of course.
And I was like, wait.
Yeah, comedy makes you remember, because unlike music, you could follow the melody but you don't want to hear the lyrics, right? Or you can hear the lyrics and not follow the melody. With comedy, remember, you want to be including in the grand laugh, so you're going to pay attention all the time. So I got to follow from the beginning of the story, the middle and the end, and in that time, you have the power as a comedian to be able to influence them to think. So while they're waiting for the joke, they're still getting lessons there, and they're very attentive. You're not distracted by phone, because most times in the comedy shows you have no phone to worry about. You are paying attention 110%. You ain't going by no bar, nothing like that. In a music party, you could do what you want.
Yeah.
You understand? But in a comedy set, you are paying attention 110%.
Every
so
word.
once you have that power, you could hit them something to think about. So that's the power of comedy. No other. I don't think there's any other genre of entertainment that does that.
That's like our prior influence people around his time when he was Black Power movement.
That's correct.
Nice way to sound about.
That's correct, sir. That's correct.
But you ever studied like the backlash that does come with being that in stand-up comedy, like being that voice of the people? Because sometimes being the voice of the people does come with certain drawbacks from the powers that really people who want to stay on top.
Yeah. I've had. I don't think I've had any type of tiff with a lot of people. Probably one or two companies who didn't like what I say and how I say it, etc. But at the end of the day, I tried not to represent complaint brands now. People just complain about this brand all the time. I not on that. For me, it's important to remain true to yourself, because I think the followers are the ones that make you who you are. So representing you, then I had to go with the people. I serving them, I'm not serving those on top of me. So at the end of the day, I try to make sure that the followers understand, okay, I have to make money, so I have to work with a brand, but it's not me compromising who I am and what my brand stands for with this collaboration. It's more of, listen, they want to put something to market, they're using me as an influencer or a talent, I have no problem doing it if it does not affect the way in which people see me on screen. So I will work with them.
How was your mother's reaction when you told her that you wanted to pursue stand-up comedy?
My mother always supportive of whatever I want to do. I don't think she had a reaction of. There was no negative reaction, actually.
Really?
I didn't come to her and tell her I want to do comedy. She just realized that that's something I always like to do, and then I told her to do my own show, and she's supportive. So both parents were very supportive of it, and my mother is what I call my prayer warrior, right? She don't play with her children, and she's big on prayer, and whatever I had to do was to trust God. One of the things that my mother taught me as well was that if you have your eyes set on one thing, don't study nothing else. So that whole prez thing, normally in school you had to pick 4 schools, right? She say, don't pick 4, just pick 1. I'll pick the rest, because she wanted me to focus on 1. So I didn't know the other schools I could have passed for. So she was big on that driven mentality to focus on one thing, follow one course, and get it done. Because my mother is stellar at education and becoming better and improvement, doing masters and whatnot. So I learned that from my mother. I learned that ambition to always go get it and focus on nothing else. So when she heard about comedy, don't go and do it if that's a second choice. Do it if that's your first choice. So when she realized that this was serious, she was ready to support.
And then you did speak on becoming.
Yeah.
So are you still in the process of becoming, and are we always in the process of becoming a better version of ourselves as we pursue these goals?
Yeah, I think we always in a place of becoming, because environments change. Who you are called to be sometimes changes. So, you were once a man living in a house with your parents. Now you're a father. Now you're a husband. Now you have responsibilities. So, and then even with being a father, you're a parent of a 6-month-old. Now you're a parent of a 5-year-old, a parent of a 10-year-old. So it requires a different man. So I think becoming is always a process. It's never an end point. It's just a constant journey of improvement.
Okay, and did you when you realized like this was your calling? Because although you're handling many different things, when you realized specifically that stand-up was the thing that you wanted to do, that you had that passion for
it never left me, and it has always taken care of me. So Miles Monroe said that your gift will always take care of you, meaning whatever. When I decided to get into comedy and being on social media, etc., all of a sudden endorsements come. People wanted me to host stuff, etc., and it has never left me. Meaning, I've never had a lull of 2 years where nobody has said, "Keevo, we need your talent here," right? So I realized it was my gift when people needed me to do something for them all the time, and it took care of me in terms of, listen, I could pay my bills and get things done and even save from the type of income that I could make from here. So I think I knew it when it has never left, and it was always around, and it began to provide for me and take care of my daily life.
On that note, because I am now in the process where I trying to reach out to bands to work with an endorsement. What advice you have for somebody who now getting into working with companies, people reaching out for them to do ads in terms of keeping your brand? Again, you have to understand your demographics, but what advice you have generally to stay in a good zone with brands that potentially looking to work with you?
Trinidad is a small place, so remember that.
Very.
There's no need to be enemies with any brand, right? If you don't like a brand, you don't have to bad talk them. You don't have to, right? If they really went above and beyond to make you feel bad, let people know that this brand is not a brand you want to be around. But Trinidad is very small. I'm not saying to pander to any brand either. I would always say, for me, you have to be intentional about what you want your life to look like when it comes to brands. So, for example, I did so many weddings in the past, right?
Over 100 at this point.
100 and something. But my intention was, through this wedding, every weekend or every other weekend, I had to put on a suit. I had to mix and match, so I had to buy a new suit. It's very expensive. My intention was, I'm going to post myself in these suits. And somebody going to say, hey, I want you to wear some of my suits. Because you're putting up suits all the time, wear some of my suits. And that happened, right? My intention was I'm going to host Marshall Montano wedding. I started talking about Marshall Montano and his journey in music, and I realized, wait, now this man talking about love. So I started to follow Marshall Montano's journey in music and talk about it on my platform. Marshall Montano got me to host his wedding. I wanted to work with Sunshine Snack because I love Zoomers. I started talking about Zoomers. So you have to speak it into being us.
You telling me my love to work to represent red bourbon, the chocolate bourbon could be a thing?
It could be a thing if you talk about something that you love. So when you start talking about something that you love, all of a sudden, people recognize, oh, wait now, I appreciate the fact that you didn't even ask me to pay you to do this. Because you have a deep passion for it, regardless of pay, let's pay you now. Right? So Zoomers could call me tomorrow. I will do Zoomers for free because what Zoomers has represented in my life is that it's childhood memories. So I started talking to Zoomers, talking about Zoomers on my platform, not because I wanted to work with them, but because I like Zoomers.
Really?
I do, right? It's the number one snack for me.
That's what chocolate bourbon is for me.
Exactly.
The one in the long red pack.
Exactly. So for me, it's not about asking a brand, hey, you work with me? Nah. A brand has to come and ask you to work with you. So what you should start doing is talking about the brands that you love and saying this is the number one thing. This is me. Because what a brand looking for is an authentic person talking about something. They know when Keevo talks about Zoomers, he a lying. Right? They know when Keevo talks about this thing, he a lying. So when this thing came out, the ham flavored ripples, right? For Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
I went on a rant. People thought that they pay me to do that. No, it was tasting good. Right? And I talk about it with passion. So you want people to be attracted to you. It's the law of attraction. It's not the law of asking. Right? There's a reason for that. So the law of attraction says that things flow to me, things flow through me in abundance, and I am grateful for it. So gratitude is where you open your hands and receive. So the reason why these brands will work with you is because you now have become an attractive person. I know what attractive means. It's not physical attraction. It's just the fact that, hey, Ron Austin and his brand is a brand I want to work with because
They authentically support
you're
what
authentically supporting what I'm doing. So yes, you can talk to a brand and say, brand I want to, brands I wanted to support, etc. But when other brands see that brands working with you, then you have value. So the marketplace is a different type of value presented on a person. As an individual and a human being, you're priceless. But in the marketplace,
Different.
your value is the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. So if there's a need for what you do, valuable. Your ability to do it, how good you do it, how good Keevo is, how good Ron is, that's the next value. And difficulty there is in replacing you. You can't get another Keevo. You can't get another Ron, which means you have to be different from everybody else. You can't get another Javel. You can't get another Samson just so, right? You could try to be Samson. You could try to be Javel. It just won't work. So that's why I say nobody could beat me at Keevo. Nobody could beat Ron at Ron. So I'm always number one. But you don't go out there telling people I'm number one. You go out there saying, I am Keevo, I am Ron. But nobody could beat me at that. And when people realize that, wait now, we can't get this because this Keevo is suited for what we want, you're going to win. You're going to win. Some people might say, nah, this Keevo is not what this brand wants. But we'll take Javel. So hence, there's a space for everybody now. So it's understanding that if I'm going out there, I'm not going out to compete, dog. Rolls-Royce don't compete. Apple don't compete. We don't compete in this industry. We have a space. This is what I do. And if you are a small brand or a big brand and you want me, yeah. Because I have influencers there. They have 5,000 followers. People saying, what? They don't know followers? No. They are the people that this brand wants. Because they speak their language. And 5,000 followers might give you 1,000 sales. 25,000 followers might give you
2 sales.
2 sales. So they're looking for the person who has the following that speaks their language. That's what you want. So the focus here is Ron, don't study me. Keevo, don't study Ron. The most you can do is talk about, hey, what you doing, what you doing, what advice you have, but make sure and study Ron, make sure and study Keevo. And we will succeed because we in different avenues, that's all.
So we don't have to come out here and be cut short everything.
Nah, people think that is that type of environment, right? There is enough for everyone's need, but there's never enough for everyone's greed. So when you're greedy, then you want to pull everybody. I remember putting up a post saying these are the top 5 wedding hosts that you will find. And somebody say, why are you doing that, dog? You don't want money, or you think I could host a wedding every Saturday? I cannot. So if I endorse my partner Keegan and Roman Bling and these people,
Them get through. Everybody eat our food.
Exactly. So when you call me Saturday and say I need a wedding host, nah, not available. Check Keegan. When Keegan not available, Keevo, you can handle it somehow. Check Keevo. The same way, hey, that business deal there with that brand, that is not really me, boy. You know who I could check? Check Ron. Ron will help you because Ron is a man into tech. That's what we're supposed to do. But people saying, let me do tech. And me, one damn thing about I don't know it. So Devon X will know this. What you talking to me for? For me to come and just embarrass myself? No, it's not making sense. I'm not authentic. I'm talking about road, mic, and I don't know that. Talk to Devon. That's why we need to collaborate. Collaboration is, hey, I know who could do it better than me. But people just want the money.
Nah, you can't move on that.
Nah, I can't move on. At all.
Yeah, I get that, but this is a nice one. To know that, the things that you always thought. Because sometimes people just paint that picture to you that it's so cutthroat in the business. How do we like that? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, Ron Austin, and I am just coming here for the last time signing out on the show. I want to say thank you for all of you all tuning in. Most importantly, thank you, Keevan. Thank you very much. This interview was really good. Like it feel like I'm talking to you, and at the same time too, a lot of the things that I thought about comedy, a lot of the things that you explained to me is just how I hoped it would have been, and I'm like, yes. Yeah. I think I make the right decision. So thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you for the audience and those listeners and viewers.
All right. Is there anything you want to plug that you have coming up to the audience?
When is it going to air?
This should air around the first week in November.
Well, look up for my podcast. We have some episodes coming Monday morning. Check it out. Deep conversations with deep people in different areas of life. So look out for that.
Yeah. Big shout out to the Monday morning podcast well. I don't know how that.
Shout out to South Central as well, man.
True. And also, if you're questioning where my hair come from, so you could go and follow Good Luck. That's good.luck_ on Instagram. As well as go and follow Full Time and Impact Solutions for the studio as well. Alright, and this has been the South Central Podcast episode 19. You all make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a comment underneath, make sure and share it on all the platforms, and we'll see you all on the next one.
Blessings. Don't know. Respect all the time, dog. No lie, it was
real good time.
That means you are